All right, so I'm going to keep on going with I Once Was a Pilgrim. We are still in India. Since I was partaking in India Light, Kate arranged for a car to take me to all the destinations in the Golden Triangle, that trifecta of tourism that does not allow one to stray far from the beaten path. Only in India for so short a time, I was to be a tourist and nothing more. The driver arrived at dawn, Delhi shimmering in an incandescent light. We drove south through smog, visible in all directions, lightening the day but not brightening it. As we taxied down the highway, he pointed out all of the places that may never make it onto a list of ultimate tourist destinations. Another new apartment building meant to accommodate the expanding population of Delhi, roads that ended just meters from where they began, and sites of terrible accidents involving cars, trucks, tractors, and trailers. Even once, a plane, which still lays where it landed. A relic of how anything can happen in India. Anything at all. In the ever-rising heat, we arrived in Agra. On a dusty corner, we picked up NC, my guide for the day, who was waiting in front of an overturned white van, a cow ambling in its wreckage. He smiled warmly as he opened the door. NC was a man of about 50. The years had painted his hair shades and shadows of gray and white, replacing the black it once was. But his eyes still shined with the hopeful exuberance of a youth he had yet to let go of, if only holding on to it in his heart. He carried with him the quiet confidence of a man who enjoys what he does and knows that he does it well. To get to the Taj Mahal, we weaved past smiling tourists driving in tuk-tuks going in the opposite direction. Parking outside of the complex, we made our way to the entrance guarded by police holding guns as casually as they were conversations. For years, the Taj Mahal has been under a near constant threat of terrorism, which shows that the world, no matter where, is in constant danger of destroying itself. With ease, we walked past these men and through each of the security checkpoints. The day was a holy one, and our entrance was free. Once inside, an impatient New Yorker that I still am, I wanted to walk faster to see the Taj Mahal faster, but NC knew better than this, and he steadied his steps, allowing only the gate to come into view. Did he not know that I had waited my whole life for this? I think he did, for as my steps quickened, he grew slower until we stood just outside of the entrance. For a moment, NC stood in silence and then motioned for us to move through the portico. That was when I stopped. That was when all, except for this moment, ceased to exist. Before me stood the reflecting pool, its water still and shallow in the morning light. Standing alone in the distance, the mausoleum rose white against the pale blue sky. Despite its apparent solidness, there was a softness to the Taj Mahal that weakened my knees and unsteadied my steps, so much so that I almost fell to the ground and wept. But I held back in fear of what these tears might reveal. That here was a woman so taken by an inanimate object that it became animate and moved her to weep, or even worse, that I was a crazy white woman, unable to contain herself. Little did I know that there was no need to fear such things. They are what make us real. They are what keep us sane. Collecting myself, we toured the grounds, NC walking even more slowly now. It was only later that he revealed that he had been in an accident only a few years before, where he was thrown from the back of a motorbike. Now he has metal rods rather than bones in his legs, which makes it difficult for him to move as quickly as he once did. Together we walked in slow steps, and our conversation flowed between the history of this place and the story of his life. Both told of love and loss and a longing for something that is no longer there. Closer, the Taj Mahal became bigger still, and I looked back across the grounds, trying to imagine what it would look like if the dreams of Shah Jahan had become a reality. When not one, but two mausoleums had been built, one white and the other black, reflecting light and darkness in the pools between. Gazing into the eternal distance, my heart flushed with the thought that if love was made of marble, then surely this was the greatest love of all. Near the stairs, still trembling, NC offered me his hand. It was the kindest of gestures, offering what was unnecessary and expecting nothing in return. Able-bodied, I hesitated to take it, as if somehow strength would be lost in this moment and not gained. And then I realized what a silly notion this was, and took his hand in mine. When life offers its kindness, it is better to hold on than let it go. Once at the top and not yet ready to let go, I asked, NC, are you a Muslim? Taking my hand in his, he turned towards me and said words that I am not soon to forget. First, I am a human being. Second, I am Indian. And lastly, I am Hindu. I smiled as did he, knowing that this first sentence is all that matters. What comes after rarely does. We continued to walk and talk, this time at his pace and not mine. Of the place of his birth, the Kashmir, he repeated the words written by Persian poet Amir Khusrau. If there is a paradise on earth, it is here. It is here. It is here. He spoke of his country not as an Indian, but as if he himself is India. For a moment I was jealous of his home, for I have yet to find a paradise of my own. But it is only a fleeting jealousy until I remembered where I was, standing in a centuries-old wonder of the world, and that somehow this, too, was paradise. At the Taj Mahal we stayed until it grew crowded, and then we made our way to the Agra Fort, a walled city where once lived the emperors of the Mughal dynasty. By now, Nancy and I are old friends, and we walked among the castle grounds, arm in arm. At the end of our day together, we made plans that if I am to visit India again, we will both return to this palace and ride up these ramps on the backs of elephants, as the Maharajas used to do. This time not to conquer the world, but to allow ourselves to be conquered by it. It saddened me to say goodbye to NC, but I knew that I would forever remember his words, his kindness, and the slowness of his steps for the rest of this journey. For NC had taught me what cannot be forgotten, that we are all human beings. Join me again next time as I continue my journey. And I once was a pilgrim. And don't forget, we are, indeed, all human beings.